Well, let's go through a couple more. We can take a look at the yeah, now we can take a look at the ogre box. And this is the deck that I feel like I was most surprised by. I hadn't seen a lot of this in city leagues. I don't think it didn't pop up everyone we were looking at city leagues. I don't think.
No, I don't think
Um,
so.
and this is the deck that Tord played. Not this exact 60 maybe, but this is the deck that Tord played and Rahul played over there. Maybe Fabian as well. Fabian didn't make day two. I'm not sure what Fabian ended up playing, but I think it was maybe the same 60. And they collaborated with some other Japanese players as well on this. Something
Another
similar.
American player too, Noah Yoshida as well, went over. I think he had got a lot of credit for the initial list that they all played.
Yeah. So I think a big part of it is abusing the water pond because there is no mana fee anymore. There's no easily accessible bench barrier. There is Rabska in the format, but nobody's playing it. So that torrential pump is like taking over games pretty quickly. Turn two torrential pump, doing the snipe damage, 100 active, 120 to the bench. And then from there, you just kind of play a mix of characters to help in other matchups. You got the Grass Ogre Pond, which KOs stuff like Charizard and Mamoswine. It accelerates energy and play to then combo with E Switch. This deck
In Zork as well.
yeah, and Zorak. And this deck does play a pretty high Crispin count, 3 Crispin. Then you have there's only 2 E-switch in the deck. You have Pikachu, which I'm sure is very good against Raging Bolt because it doesn't get KO'd by Raging Bolt, but it when it KOs Raging Bolt. And they do have enough energy, different energy types to be able to attack with Pikachu potentially multiple times. You got the Clefairy X in here, which is a big player in general in a lot of different decks. And honestly, it feels like a big player in terms of the format because Dragapult seems like it's the best deck, but
It's checked pretty effectively by this card.
this card and melodic, I would say. Like, it feels like Dragapult is like neutrally in a vacuum in this format, seems to be like the BDIF. But it's one of those BDIFs where it's like it might never win a major just because everyone is always constantly going to be playing cards that can beat it to keep it in check. But it could be one of those formats where it's like, well, Dragapult is like a 2% meta deck. No one's been winning with it. Maybe I'll cut my Clefairy. And then all of a sudden people play Dragapult and it wins a tournament. So, but yeah, it seems like Dragapult's like the most powerful Pokemon in the format, but very much in check with all the cards that are available right now. So that's kind of cool to see. But yeah, this deck is it's cool to see. Like, I feel when was the last time we've seen like a true box deck like this? It's been a while. I feel like.
Yeah, one that has succeeded like this. I mean, people are
Yeah.
always coming up with decks like this. Like when Ogerpon first came out, people were playing Luminous Energy, Energy Switch, Ogerpon box type decks. But
Yeah.
um, this is by far the most successful it's been, and I think this is like the biggest deck of the tournament. You sure for Alligator won. Sure, there was a ton of this stall archetype in the top cut, but I think this. I mean, you mentioned. Uh, Dragapult, maybe clear best deck in the format. I wonder. I almost think this is going to be the front runner for best deck in the format when
I
we
think
get
it'll
this
like.
this format over
I
here.
think there's a good chance it's one of the most popular, most successful decks for sure.
Yeah,
And I think it would. I don't know how it fares up against the Fraligator deck to be honest, but it probably would have been a pretty good spot to win the tournament if if they were all teching for walls. It doesn't look like anyone had a tech card for walls at all, though. It's funny because we saw it a couple the matchup play out a couple times on stream, and like people were attacking with Noctowls and fan rotoms, like knowing they were never going to KO a caped Girafarig. Like they were throwing everything at it,
yeah.
never even close. Yeah, it feels like no one. Yeah, it doesn't look like we can look through the rest of these Ogre Pond lists, of course, if we go through about it. It looks like no one tech for it, but if they were all teching for it, I feel like this deck would have probably been up there at least in the finals. I don't know how it does against the Fraligator deck though, to be honest.
Oh, Reiji here had his own Farigiraf in
Ooh,
the deck.
is that? I guess that would allow you to get through the opposing Farigiraf,
Yeah,
right? So maybe that could be one of the answers. Also, auto win the mirror.
yeah. And there's nothing like canceling clone in this format, like a way to just get rid of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, we don't have one of
Um,
those.
That was not the only Noctowl deck in Top Cut. We also had a Noctowl Charizard deck. Charizard looking for some new friends post rotation potentially.
No
Pidgeot
Pidgeot.
Pidgeot is still here, but it looks like Noctowl is the new bird potentially for Charizard. And I've seen a lot of people talking about this deck just kind of in
Yeah.
general for post rotation. It seems like the way that a lot of people are going to be trying to play Charizard with the new format.
Charizard just gets so much more weaker because of no Radzard, though. You have like way less control over the prize trade. I mean, you still have Briar and Dusknoir, but like, yeah, it definitely feels like Charizard has lost a lot of power due to the lack of Radzard. Dude, I get asked about this deck so much, and what I always tell people is Current format, I think it's just bad. Future format, I don't know. It could be good. This format, it could be good. We see it gets top 16 here at Champions League. It definitely seems like it's probably more viable next format with rotation and everything happening. It is definitely interesting. Like this list specifically, no Pidgeot. It still feels like Pidgeot can slot into this deck pretty comfortably.
Sure.
Yeah, opting for no bird.